Hey guys, this is Lauren here with now Metismoon Astrology. I'm going to talk a little bit about changing the name of my astrological body of work. I want to speak to the Me Too movement and correlate to that to astrology as well. And just blessed new moon in Libra. This is really a powerful time for us to look at evolving together. Okay, we're taking this Libra new moon at the end of Libra season, and we're going to be taking that into Scorpio season. I don't know if you noticed the lunar shift after the solar eclipse at the end of August. We used to have new moons in the beginning of the month. Now we are having them at the end of the month. So what is Libra? It's the sign of the other, togetherness, balance, harmony, justice. When we just had Sun and Mercury in Libra, it was a lot about this isn't fair, calling out injustices, seeking harmony. And so I want to speak to how Mercury is now in Scorpio, along with some other things we're going to speak to, and how are we going to take this seed of this Libra new moon into the sign of the depths, the sign of transformation, sex, death. I mean, we're going into Scorpio season. Everything's dying, right? Whether you are astrologically inclined or not, this is the season that things really change. So I want to speak a bit to Me Too in general. I am so empowered by the stories that have been shared. As disheartening and heartbreaking as it is, it's really powerful. We're taking these things that have been just lurking right beneath the surface and pulling them out, getting ready to really look at them and what this means for us as a collective. I shared a brutal story about a prominent shaman in my community not even a month ago on September 23rd, and it was really freaking hard to do, and I have still been a little rocky about it. Now, having all of my sisters come out and share their stories, and it's like me too, me too, me too, I'm like, wow, this is a really powerful time to call out these demons that seem to follow us, to call out how we are so sexually distorted as a culture. So what does it mean to be in a rape culture? The most prominent example I can think of was this past summer. I went to a music festival, and this woman had these two little twin infants with their earphones on and, you know, all festied up, ready to go, but they were screaming. They just could not handle the overstimulation, and everything that they were forced to receive was too much for them in their pure little worlds. So what does it mean when we grow up like this, when we're conditioned to just take in much more than we are ready to? It's really a call to balance the yin and the yang. And I've been talking about this for quite a long time. And so I want to ask, what does that look like on the immediate call to action level? If we are too far into the yang world, and how do we bring in the yin? I think it really is about listening as much as we speak, about holding as much space as we ask for, about talking with the intent to receive and receiving that which we communicate from our own selves. Where is this coming from? I think it's really, really important that as much as we observe outside ourselves, we take as much time to actually go within and tap into our third eye and actually check in with our inner vision. If you are not inclined to let me take a quick meditation before I go to my next errand, because that is the frame that we really live in. We go from one thing to the next. Where is the time to process? There is this hypnotist from Brooklyn, Morgan Yakas. I'll try to include the link. She has a brilliant, really simple guide to self-hypnosis that you can do like 5 minutes in your car or in between, you know, just errands, that really helps you check in like, hey, where is my center? This is really a question we need to ask on a Libra new moon, because the scales can seem so tipped in so many directions that we need to make sure we are checking in with our true center of gravity. Excuse me, I lost my voice in California. I'm back here in Maine where things are dying, but it's a really beautiful thing. Death brings not an end, but a transformation. We're evolving into a new season, and I think that transcends on so many levels. So what does this look like in the grander aspect? Sure, we have all shared so many stories, and that's great. We're not going to heal overnight by sharing what has been in our hearts and our guts for so long. We really need to take action. For me, dealing with this so many years, I have gained so much momentum in my healing journey through astrology and gotten to the point where I am really able to acknowledge my karmic complexes, my cosmological makeup. That has led me to, hey, why did I choose this lifetime? What am I here to learn through these experiences? I'm not blaming myself for what I may or may not have attracted, but I recognize that this is a part of my evolving journey. And if I can know myself so well, I can know what I need to take from it. So I like to bring that to women. I mean, not that I don't also work with men astrologically. It's just because there is a similar mirror with women who have gone through similar experiences at myself that I can relate and be like, hey, this birth chart is a tool for you to really get into what is at the core of it all. But in reality, we are walking this planet with millions of sex offenders every day. So how do people like me with a young daughter sleep at night? How do we go on? My astrology teacher also turned me on to tantric meditation. And I am really a big proponent of Margot Anand's book, The Art of Sexual Ecstasy, in which she really takes Tantra to the Western mind and guides through pure being meditations, inner child meditations. And I'm like, this is what we need on a large level to work with the rapists in federal prisons and to work with the sexual assaulters out on parole. Because, I mean, you think of someone who is so trapped in that aggressive, yang kind of mentality, this is what is really needed, a call to go within. So many people I respect have told me that there is nothing that can't be healed. Sometimes I still really struggle with that, but if we believe it, thought creates reality. So I am really believing that we can heal as individuals, as a part of a collective, in bringing up a generation that can rise above all of this BS that we have been conditioned into. So let's take it back to Scorpio, the most intense zodiac sign and the season that we are embarking into. We have just had Jupiter enter Scorpio on October the 10th, and he has been traveling with asteroid Metis. Now, I changed my name from Meta to Metis. I had initially made it metismoon on a whim because I was like, well, meta, it's self-referential. We're always living through our moon, right? And shortly after I discovered I have my moon-Mercury conjunction with Metis, asteroid number 9 there. So who is Metis? She's just another suppressed goddess archetype, right? Does she really matter? I mean, you talk to most astrologers, they might not even know that this asteroid exists. And this is why I tend to focus there, because there's so much out there about the transpersonal planets, the inner planets, that this asteroid playing ground is not that tapped into, but it's the undercurrents that really drive the whole cycle of these cosmological transits. So who is Metis? What is a conjunction? A conjunction is like a marriage. Metis was married to Zeus, Jupiter, Zeus. Big planet, right? So we think about that big godly archetype where there is so much expansion and opportunity and exploration. We take that into Scorpio. He's going to be there about a year. We just had a year of Jupiter in Libra, and we saw a lot about being called out about what's unfair in our society. And now we really get the opportunity to evolve that. Scorpio is going to transform that which does not serve it, or it can devolve. And I don't think we're interested in that right now. So when you have Zeus's first wife Metis conjunct his planetary function in our skies, we have something really prominent here. And it's something that I have correlated in birth charts to a lot of divorce. But I've also read this one woman who had her inner masculine and feminine so incredibly balanced. I was just blown away. There are a million ways we can work through these energies, and when we really identify with the mythologies behind them, that's how we evolve these stories we've been carrying with us as a people for eons and eons and eons. So Metis was Zeus's first wife. She was threatened by her feminine strength, her intuitive wisdom. I think Metis actually means like cunning wisdom or something like that. So he convinced herself to turn herself into a fly. He manipulated her and then promptly swallowed her. So on one level, we can see that Metis in a man's birth chart is really that matronly voice. It's largely collectively very suppressed in this day and age, but we can see it as the yin energy that is accessible within the yang. So out of Zeus and Metis, what do we have? We have Athena, the goddess of war, right? Who serves her father so lovingly, so strategically, so intelligently, so aggressively at sometimes. And she's often called the goddess without a mother. It's not so. It's when he swallowed Metis that Athena was birthed from his head. So we see a lot of the interplay of the feminine intuition and how that is corresponding to man in general. So when we have exalted the intuitive nature of our inner Metis, our inner guide, the voice that we don't need to reason or logic with, it just is there and it just knows. It's the gut feeling, that fly. We cannot let that feeling be the fly on the wall anymore. We're clearly seeing we have Jupiter, Metis, and Mercury together. We're going to talk about it. We're going to relate about it. We got to stay curious about it and open to really expand what that could mean and evolve it in the depths of Scorpio. So when we are able to really honor that voice, we can really yield the sort of Athena that comes out of that. We can really perfect our art of war and how we want to channel it. We're not going to get anywhere by pointing fingers and pushing blame. I'm not saying that we need to forgive and be martyrs, because we're moving out of the age of Pisces, okay? We're evolving. And so where is Athena right now? In the sky? She's retrograde. So this is a reflective time of how we are going to put out our war strategy, right? And she's in the sign of Taurus, the body. This is a huge call to honor our bodies. It can be a little bit of a wormhole in wreaking war on our bodies, and we cannot attack ourselves in times like this. It's not helpful to you, and it's not helpful to us as a collective. So when we have Athena in Taurus in retrograde, and she's squaring the North Node in Leo, the North Node of the moon is our collective psyche of what we are moving towards. It's what the moon is moving towards in the lunar orbit. We can see that we're really working out how to really own our bodies in an empowering way in order to shine with that Leo love for the self. So Leo is also conjunct asteroid Medusa. Who is Medusa? She is also extremely distorted in this day and age, but she is beautiful. She is our guardian. And so we've got this collective aspect that wants us to shine, but when we have Medusa there, she can be the guardian of frozen rage. One of my brilliant teachers, Delara McCrae, an Australian Lilithian astrologer, taught me so much about this and opened so many goddess channels for me. Thank you. But Medusa is our guardian. She's going to protect us from what is no longer serving us. And so when we take that to the heart, to Leo, it's really, really big when it's squaring Athena, holding down the body. So how do we take this square from the heart to our sensual selves and then go back to Scorpio, evolve it, transmute it? It's a question I don't necessarily have the answer to, but I know how I feel about it on a day-to-day, and it really is balancing. Am I receiving as much as I'm putting out? Am I checking in with myself as much as I'm reacting to the outside world? Am I honoring my body? Am I thanking her for carrying me through this plane? Or am I just so overwhelmed that I'm checking out? That's not healthy. It suppresses Metis's wisdom that we all carry. And these are just archetypes that represent different functions within ourselves that the sky tells the story for. So I'm really making a call on this Libra new moon to ask you, what does it look like to evolve together? There's not just the wounded feminine. The masculine is just as wounded. I mean, I feel so much empathy for men who just don't know what to do. So how do we serve them? How do we serve each other? It starts by serving ourselves, right? Athena is the most prominent archetype that we see on display in American women. She's the crusader, the defender, the warrior, and we see so much just like ba 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 ba, and it is when it is without the wisdom of Metis that it's just like throwing punches into the wind, and it won't get us anywhere. It's good to get this stuff out, but we need to figure out, okay, what are we taking in that's going to put everything out in a beautiful, healthy way. So I hope you all have a beautiful Libra new moon. We're going to be carrying these seeds with us all through Scorpio season. And remember, if you're a millennial, we're going to have Jupiter transiting our Pluto this year. It's going to be intense. There's going to be a lot of upheaval, but it's going to be transformative. I am hoping for the better, and I hope you're with me. Thank you for sitting with me on this beautiful fall day. I'm like in this rock cove. It's amazing. Blessings to all.